Starting a new job is, well, it's always exciting, isn't it? But let's be honest for a second. The paperwork, not so much. And there's usually one big worry nagging at the back of your mind: getting that first payslip and seeing you've been hit with emergency tax. In this discussion, brought to you by the experts at ProTax Accountant, we are going to completely demystify the one document that stands between you and that nightmare: the P45 form. So, if you're nodding your head right now because you've just signed a new contract or you're about to start a new role, then you are in exactly the right place. This guide is built specifically for you. I mean, is there anything worse than that feeling? You wait all month for that first paycheck, you open it up, and a massive chunk has just vanished to something called emergency tax. It's incredibly frustrating, but here is the good news. It's also completely avoidable, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen to you. We're so pleased to be able to bring you this guide, and it's all thanks to the team at ProTax Accountant. You know, they deal with these exact tax issues day in, day out, which is what makes their advice so practical and honestly so reliable. Okay, so let's dive right in. Here's what we're covering. First, we'll break down exactly what a P45 is and why it is so critical. Then, we'll get into the practical stuff: how to get one, a quick guide for employers, and this is a big one: how to fix the most common problems. And finally, we'll map out your next steps. Let's get to it. All right, first things first. What exactly is a P45? Well, the simplest way to put it is this: think of it as your official tax handover document. Now, the official, rather boring title is Details of Employee Leaving Work, but what it actually does is really simple. It's a statement from your old employer that tells your new employer and HMRC exactly how much you've earned and how much tax you've paid up to that point in the current tax year. And remember, in the UK, the tax year always runs from April 6th to April 5th the following year. You know, here is the absolute easiest way to think about this. Your P45 is like your tax passport. It's the official document that travels with you when you move from one job to the next. And its whole purpose is to make sure your tax journey is smooth without any costly or frustrating detours. And this little diagram shows you exactly how that journey works. See, your P45 actually comes in 4 parts. Your old employer sends part 1 directly to HMRC, so you don't have to worry about that. You get the other 3 copies. Part 1A, that's for you. Keep it somewhere safe for your records. And then parts Q and 3, those are the crucial bits you hand over to your new boss. It really is that simple. So what's actually written inside this tax passport? Well, it's basically a snapshot of your financial years so far. You'll see your national insurance number, your old employer's tax reference number, and your official leaving date. But the most important bits are your tax code and the running totals of your pay and the tax you've already paid. It even tells your new employer if you're making student loan repayments, so you don't get a nasty surprise with those deductions either. Okay, so understanding what a P45 is, that's step 1. Now let's look at why it is so incredibly important. Because this is all about helping you avoid that dreaded emergency tax trap. Just look at this number. It's pretty shocking. In a single tax year, 1.2 million UK workers were put on an emergency tax code. And a lot of the time, it was down to simple paperwork issues with their P45. That's over 1 million people who unexpectedly lost a big chunk of their salary. And the financial impact of that? It was massive. It led to a collective overpayment of an estimated £300 million. That is money that should have been in people's pockets, paying bills or going into savings, not sitting with HMRC. Our goal today is to make absolutely certain that you are not one of them. So, to understand why this happens, we just need a quick look at the 2025-26 UK tax bands. Right now, pretty much everyone gets a £12,570 tax-free personal allowance. Anything you earn above that gets taxed in different bands. Your P45 is the only way your new employer knows exactly where you stand in this system, so they can tax you at the right rate from day one. And this slide really shows the 2 paths your first payday can take. Path 1, you have your P45. Your new job uses your correct tax code, which is usually 1257L. That 1257 just means you get your full £12,570 tax-free allowance. Simple. Path 2, without a P45, they have no choice but to use a temporary emergency code, which often has an M1 at the end. That basically taxes you as if it's your very first month of work, ignoring everything you've earned and paid before. The result is the difference between getting paid correctly and potentially overpaying by hundreds of pounds.
Okay, I think we're all convinced. The P45 is a really big deal. So now for the really practical part. How do you actually get one and use it correctly? Don't worry, here is your simple, actionable guide. We've boiled it down into a super simple 4-step plan. Step 1, check it. The moment that P45 lands in your hands, have a quick look at your copy, that's Part 1A, and just make sure all the details are correct. Step 2, keep it. Find somewhere safe to store that Part 1A. Step 3, share it. Give Parts 2 and 3 to your new employer straight away, ideally on your very first day. And finally, the crucial Step 4, monitor it. When you get that first payslip, check it to confirm that the correct tax code has actually been used. And here's a pro tip you absolutely have to remember. You cannot get a replacement P45. It's a one-and-done document. If you lose it, that's it. You'll have to fill out a form called a starter checklist instead, which can sometimes delay getting your tax code sorted out properly. So seriously, treat that P45 like it's cash.
Okay, let's just switch hats for a moment. If you're a business owner, or maybe you're the person who runs payroll, this next part is specifically for you. This is all about staying compliant with HMRC and avoiding some pretty hefty fines. Stay with me. This part might surprise you. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That's not a typo. HMRC can fine a business up to £3,000 per employee for having incorrect payroll records. And failing to issue a P45 correctly and on time is a major compliance failure that puts you squarely in their sights. It's a very, very costly mistake to make.
So when are you legally required to issue one? Well, the answer is actually very simple. Every single time an employee stops working for you. It doesn't matter what the reason is. If they resign, retire, are made redundant, or their contract ends, you must provide them with a P45. There are no exceptions. And what about the timing? The legal rule is that you must give the P45 to the employee on their final day of work. Now, if that's not possible for some reason, the law says it must be issued without unreasonable delay. That phrase is deliberately a bit vague, but the clear best practice is to simply generate and send it as part of their final payroll run. Here's a pro tip for employers. Integrate this step into your automated offboarding checklist. That way, it never gets missed.
But that's not all. Here's where things can sometimes go wrong. Because even with the best intentions, P45s get lost, they get delayed, or they have mistakes. So in this section, we're going to tackle the most common problems head-on with a clear plan to get them fixed. This is easily the question we hear the most. You've left your old job, a few weeks have gone by, and there's still no P45 in sight. Or maybe you had it, you put it somewhere safe, and now it's just vanished. What do you do? Okay, first things first, don't panic. You have options. Here is your 3-step rescue plan. The first thing to do is talk to your new employer. Let them know you don't have a P45 and they will give you a starter checklist form to fill out. At the same time, get in touch with your old employer and chase them for the P45, or at the very least, ask for a statement of earnings which contains all the same info. And finally, remember you can always log into your personal tax account on the HMRC website to see your tax details for yourself. Let's see how this plays out in a real-life situation with Raj's story. So Raj switched jobs back in July, but his P45 from his old company was late, and when it did arrive, it had the wrong tax code on it. Come August, his first payslip from his new tech job in London was a real shock. He'd overpaid tax by hundreds of pounds, but Raj was on the ball. In September, he spotted the mistake, got all his details together, and contacted HMRC directly. By October, his tax code was fixed, and the tax he'd overpaid was refunded in his next paycheck. The lesson here is crystal clear. Check your payslips, and if something's wrong, act fast. We have covered a lot of ground here, right? From the what and the why of the P45, all the way through to fixing common problems. So let's bring it all together and figure out your next step for really taking control of your taxes. You know, the key takeaway from all of this is pretty simple. Tax paperwork can feel complicated, even a bit overwhelming sometimes, but it really doesn't have to be. As we've seen today, just understanding this one form, the P45, is a huge step towards taking control. It puts you back in the driver's seat and makes sure you get to keep more of the money you've worked so hard to earn. And look, if your situation is a bit more complicated, maybe you're juggling multiple jobs or you're an employer who needs a hand with the payroll, please don't struggle alone. The team at Pro Tax Accountant are the experts. You can reach out to them directly for clear, professional advice. Their WhatsApp and phone number is 07985 689912, or you can just drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk.
We really hope this guide has been genuinely helpful for you. If you found this breakdown useful, please do give it a like and subscribe to the ProTax Accountant YouTube channel. They are regularly posting clear, simple guides just like this one to help you master your taxes. Thanks so much for watching.